Senator Perdue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Secretary, I just want to say for the record how much I appreciate your forbearance and courtesy earlier in our private meetings and for your public service. It's a very difficult mission you've been given. In the spirit of oversight, I'd just like to ask a couple questions. Your predecessor, Secretary Napolitano, in 2013, we talked about visa overstays, and a big part of or a large percentage of illegal immigrants in this country came in this country legally and just overstayed their visa. Can you give us an update on that report? I think you mentioned something about this about a year ago as well. Can you just give us an update on that report?
I saw a preliminary report a while ago, which in my judgment lacked fidelity, to be quite honest. And so I told my people I wanted them to go back and look hard at this issue, and even if it means consulting people on the outside, let's give our best estimate at visa overstays. The work I've seen so far has not been satisfactory, such that I'm prepared to give it to the Congress or to give it to the American public as something that I'm prepared to stand behind. Yeah. So unfortunately, and I know this has taken some time, it continues to be a work in progress, but I do want to get to the right answer.
I appreciate that. Can you give us a sense of when we might expect to see that?
I ask that exact same question of my people routinely, and I'm told that we're getting closer.
I'll take that to be months and not years. Is that
yes,
reasonable?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Without getting into politics, and again, in the spirit of oversight, going back to this case in Texas on the immigration issue, the executive amnesty issue, there's a conflict between the injunction the judge put on that and the actions of the DHS and mainly the comments of the president. Can you comment, given that the president seemed to indicate that he was interested in being prepared, and that there were some 100,000 renewals done, I think, in the first 3 weeks that upset the judge. He made a comment. The president responded. Can you just give us some clarity about what exactly the DHS is doing now in relation to that case and being prepared for the outcome?
Well, in reaction to the injunction, which has not been stayed, we have shut down our implementation of the DAPA program and the expanded DACA program. We did that very, very soon after the injunction became known to us. So we're in compliance with the court order, and the things that we were trying to put in place, that we were putting in place, will either be discontinued or they will be diverted to some other use that we have, principally within CIS. But we're complying with the court's injunction because we have to. There's no stay. So
there's no ongoing preparation for what you were doing originally or what we're planning to do originally under the original guidance?
No, the implementation of the program, which had begun after November 20, we've had to suspend.
I see. Let me go back to the gang member issue, and I just want to ask about a recent decision of the Fourth Circuit that involved removing gang members under the INA. I'm sure that, well, in that case, individual gang membership may constitute a protected characteristic that can entitle the individual to relief from removal or entitle them to asylum. Basically, the rationale is like if you're an MS-13, for example, you might be in danger in your home country if you claim that you renounced your gang membership, you turn state's evidence, and now you can't go back. I think it's pretty obviously that we could be set up for significant fraud there. How do you interpret that ruling by the Fourth Circuit, and has it changed any of the procedures ongoing in DHS?
In Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov's suite from Tsar Sultan, the Tsar's Farewell and Departure, the Tsarina in a Barrel at Sea, the famous Flight of the Bumblebee, and then the Three Wonders, all music of Rimsky-Korsakov, played by the Malaysian Philharmonic, Case Buckhells conducting on classical WETA.
It was asked earlier today, but is there an attempt? I know we have this big number called illegal immigrants that we're monitoring. We've got this study you're working on visa overstays. But in terms of the people that come in illegally, What are we doing in DHS to sort of quantify that so you know how to deploy resources? And this is, again, just an oversight, not a political question.
We have apprehensions, which in the judgment of the professionals is an indicator of total attempts to cross the border. And so the report I issued last week talked about apprehensions. There is an attempt also to measure what the Border Patrol calls turnbacks and getaways. And that number is one that I think we can do a better job of trying to quantify so that we get to total attempts to cross the border. I'm interested in getting to that number. And so I've consulted with outside experts, I've consulted with my own people about arriving at a way to measure total attempts. And there are various ideas out there, some of which are published. The Council on Foreign Relations has done some good work in this area, which includes surveys of people south of the border and what their behavior might be. And so I'm interested in more transparency in this and more clarity when it comes to total attempts to cross the border. It is not an easy exercise. And there is a certain unknown factor when it comes to people who evade capture, who evade apprehension. And so I'm interested in getting to a better, clearer measurement of that. I agree with the sentiment of your question.
When you get
But
that
in the
information,
absence of that, total apprehensions I take as an indicator of total attempts to cross the border. And
well,
so
I
that's
appreciate
something
your
I've talked
approach.
about.
I appreciate your quantitative approach. When you get that information, would you share it with us at the appropriate time? We'll put that in a written record question as well. And again, thank you for your service. Mr. Chairman, that's all.